God bless. Today the topic is shopping with God. Now, how would you like to go on a shopping spree with God? Now, it would be kind of awesome. He's literally the richest and most powerful being in the entire universe. It's because he owns the universe. And on top of that, he loves to spoil you. He loves to spoil his kids. The Creator can get you things that don't seem to exist because he can go forward and backward in time because he inhabits eternity, like it says in Isaiah 57:15. He can bring into existence that which has not been here before, hence the title Creator. So, if you were shopping with the Creator, what would you ask for? What would you shop for? What would you look for? What would you go for? What would you pray for? The people who figure out this shopping with God process, this mindset of abundance, this correct tilt of the heart, this style of prayer, are the ones who see God supply their demand. They also are even more ready for a miracle now and again. Now, if there were no limits on this retail therapy with God, what would you shop for? What would you pray for if there were no limits? Would you shop for specific things like a vacation beach house, or a sports car, a pleasure boat, Italian clothing, or a dream vacation? Would you pray for more elusive game like talent, or money, or career promotion, a record label? How about a good friend or a lover? What about things closer to home like better health, or finally losing that weight, or the strength to conquer an addiction, anger management, or slow Wi-Fi? You see, today we look at the prayer and believing process through the eyes of a savvy shopper. The way you shop is the way you believe, and the way you believe is the way you receive. It's that simple. Today we go shopping with God. Take God shopping with you. Now, my wife had an uncle named Lou, who was a great salesman, a good earner. He was very handsome. He loved to serve in the community, and he was prosperous. His lovely wife, Rita, a stay-at-home mom, knew that if she wanted something, if she really, really wanted it, she had to figure out how to get Lou to come off of his wallet. You see, Lou controlled the family finances in the old school grip of a first-generation Italian-American raised during the Great Depression and who also served in World War II. Now, Aunt Rita learned that if she asked Lou for $100 for a dress, he would dust off his wallet and grudgingly hand her $50. But if Rita let him take her shopping, he would buy her the $100 dress, matching red shoes, hat, scarf, and then take her out to eat. She cracked the Uncle Lou shopping code. Note to self, get him to go with me if I'm going shopping. So all Rita had to do to get the things she really wanted, be it fine clothing, fancy dishes, or the beach house that she eventually got on the Jersey Shore, was to get Lou to go shopping with her. She needed him at her side if she was going to have her wants and prayers answered. Now, like Aunt Rita, we need to know that God is at our side. We need to find a way to bring God closer to us. Jesus' half-brother wrote, "You approach God and he will approach you." James 4:8. You approach God and he will approach you. See, as you head toward God, he comes right at you. I know what you're thinking. Mark, God is always with us. He lives in us. He is ever present and he loves me. Well, that's true. I love you too. You see, but this time think of God as being our supplier. Think Amazon. Think eBay, Craigslist, Walmart, Etsy, or Home Depot. How do you get the supply to come to you like Aunt Rita did? Newton's third law fits in perfectly here. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's a law. It's Christian karma. It works on the positive or on the negative. Paul said, what you sow is what you reap, Galatians 6:7. One of Job's friends told him, those who sow trouble will reap even more trouble, Job 4:8. See, if you wait until the wind and the weather are just right, you will never plant anything and never harvest anything, Ecclesiastes 11:4. Old Testament prophet Hosea said, if you plant the wind, you will harvest a hurricane, Hosea 8:7. Now, I understand this harvesting and hurricane. As a child, I lived in Japan for a few years. And during typhoon season, high winds would always show up the day before the pounding, driving rain would hit. And one time I thought I would have some fun and harvest the wind. So I cut a huge sheet of cardboard from a discarded refrigerator box. And I grabbed two sides and I rolled them in my freckled little hands. You see, and then I flipped it up into the wind, and the gale grabbed my cardboard sail, and I hung on for dear life. It dragged me across the field and across the street so fast I had no idea. It wore the tips off my shoes and tore the knees out of my blue jeans along with a bunch of skin. I had no idea the power of hurricane force winds until that moment. When we do things the right way, the goodness of God will come at us like a hurricane. You plant a little wind, you get back a lot. You see, this law of action-reaction, this principle of giving and receiving is universal. Newton saw it, Paul preached it, Job lived it, Hosea was swept away by it. Like Aunt Rita figured out how to get Uncle Lou to buy her what she wanted, let's look at a few of God's not-so-secret rules to getting what we want if we plan on shopping with Him. Remember to take God with you when you're shopping in prayer. So the not-so-secret shopping rules. Think of your shopping spree with God the way you shop online. Now, shopping online is typically not as emotional as it is systematic. You know exactly how to get Amazon to deliver a box in 2 days, don't you? You see, there's no begging, there's no wishing, there's no falling on your knees and wringing your hands as tears pop out of your eyes like a TV preacher begging God to deliver. You see, you don't cry out, please, 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 Mr. Amazon, I've been a faithful Prime member. I pay my dues. I have bought many things from you, Mr. Amazon. I even wave at the drivers of your Amazon Prime vans to spread good vibes just in case they're coming to my house. I even listen to 50 Audible books a year because I know that you own Audible. Please, 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 Mr. Amazon, please make my package appear on my porch in 2 days, please. Do you do that? No, that's ridiculous. So why do we pray that way? God is a much better supplier than Amazon could ever be. No, 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 no. You never do that when you're shopping online. Why do we do it with God? Now, that's how desperate people pray. But it's not how we are supposed to shop/pray. That's more like the 3 B's of failed prayer. Beg, bargain, and brag. Beg. We all know this one. Please, God, help me. Help me out here. Or bargain. Hey, God, let's make a deal. I will do this for you if you do this for me. I know none of you have ever done that. I have. And then brag. Look, God, I served you for many years. I sacrificed my time, my life, and my finances to help out your people. And because I've been such a good and faithful servant, how about throwing me a solid? How about a favor here, God? You see, so we don't want to beg, bargain, and brag. You see, you just want to shop. Think of it like shopping. Think of God as a great supplier. Come to think of it, that's exactly what He is, isn't He? Now, just like Amazon, Zappos, Home Depot, Nasty Gal, Think Geek, or Shop Kids they don't respond to begging, bargaining, or bragging, and neither will God. God does not respond to that stuff. People do. But no supplier does. Let's go at prayer with the expectation of a savvy shopper. You know exactly how to get exactly what you want when you shop online, don't you? You see, why should it be any different with God? Why should it be any different with God? You decide what you want, you figure out who you're going to buy it from, you decide how much you're willing to pay, then you click order and it's at your doorstep before you know it. The other day I bought something online, a gift for my son and his wife for their anniversary. I ordered it on Saturday. It showed up on Sunday. It's like it wasn't even 24 hours and I had it. Thank you, Mr. Amazon. You see, for example, I get about 300 miles of wear and tear out of my trail running shoes. Now, the way I run, that takes me 10 weeks to wear out a pair of trail shoes. Now, I've spent many years and hundreds of dollars looking for the perfect shoe for me. But I finally found a brand that was as close to perfect for me, and I wanted a second pair exactly the same. I wanted the exact same model to use during the Pikes Peak Marathon that I'll be running next week. Now, Amazon had the size, but they didn't have the color. So, nope. You see, I didn't want red. I didn't want red shoes. I wanted blue shoes. So my outfit is blue, so I wanted blue shoes. My backpack is blue, so I wanted blue shoes. So I checked out REI. It's right down the road. They didn't have the size. So I left there and I went on to the Ultra Running Shoe Company website, and they only had neon green. Again, I did not want neon green shoes with a blue outfit. So I kept looking. Finally, I went to Zappos, and they had one pair of Ultra Lone Peak size 12 blue running shoes in stock. And one click, and they were on my porch the next day. Look at those bottoms. I'm holding up the shoes right now. You see? So, I mean, it was great. The next day they were there. You see? Is God any less efficient? Think about it. Is God any less efficient? As your credit card statement reminds you, there's always a price it gets paid to get what you want. Isn't there? There's always a price he gets paid. God paid the price of his son for our salvation, did he not? You paid the price of working out every day to get back in shape. You see, you paid the price of cutting out carbs and sugar so you could drop weight. You paid the price, or I know I did, I paid the price of running 1,500 miles a year so I could run a stupid marathon. You see, you give your life for your children so they can have a better life than you have. There's always a price to pay for something you want. It's interesting to know that many of the things that we pray and ask God for, we already know how to get. We already know how to get them. We just want it to come easier and faster. Humanity. Now, the not-so-secret trick to getting your prayers answered is to figure out what you want. Then connect with the supplier. Then pay the price. And expect it to show up on your doorstep. That's really as simple as it is. Now, supply and demand. Now, let's look at this shopping thing from a little bit different way. Now, we've all heard the term supply and demand. Supply is the amount of goods available. Demand is how badly you want them. Or how much you're willing to pay for those. You see, what is available and how bad do you want it? That's supply and demand. Now notice I leave out the word need. Because if you need something, but you don't really want to do anything to get it, you're never going to get it, right? If you don't want to pay the price, if you need it, but you're still not willing to pay the price, you're not going to get it. A want is more powerful than a need, typically. Now let's look at a great verse on supply and demand. Philippians 4:19. I'm going to read it from the AMP. You see, and my God will liberally supply, fill until full, your every need according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. The word need can just as easily be translated demand. So God will liberally supply your demand according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. How rich is God? We already heard that he owns the universe, right? He inhabits eternity. He's not limited by time, so he's pretty big. He's pretty good, you see. So, so first we figure out exactly what we want. That's demand. Second, we decide where you're going to buy it. That's supply. And third, you ask yourself if you're willing to pay the price. Now, I say this because a lot of people pray for health. And a lot of people pray for a lot of things, but just think about this. Would you ask Amazon to take the fat off of you? Or to get you in shape? No. So we ask God for that, but we already know what we're supposed to do. Or it's available to figure out how to get in shape, right? You see? I mean, there's nothing easy. There's nothing easy. Is there a system that will open the windows of heaven to us? Is there a way to move God's abundance towards us? Are there things that we need to do in order to bring home a little of the exceeding abundance, like Ephesians 3:20 says? And the answer is yes. Now, I'm not cutting out the miracles here, folks. They're all possible. I'm just talking about generally speaking, and we're going to get to a section of Scripture in a minute that just blew my mind when I first started understanding what it said. And I'm talking about the price that we have to pay. Sometimes you get something free. You get a freebie from God. Other day I got a gift from Amazon. I got a book. I didn't order it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if somebody sent it to me or if they just did it because I was such a good customer and I waved at their vans. You know, I don't know. But is there something that will open the windows of heaven to us? Is there something that will bring home a little of that exceeding abundance? And the answer is yes. Now here's a very surprising lesson on how to receive from God. Okay, now so far we've looked at tips on how to move the subject of our prayers closer to us, like Aunt Rita figured I had to get Uncle Lou to buy her what she wanted. We saw Newton's law of attraction and reaction, and that what we plant is what we reap. And if we plant wind, we're going to reap a hurricane. See, answers to prayers usually starts with something that we do. We have to do something. Okay? That's one. You see? Then we saw the 3 B's of failed prayer: beg, borrow, and brag. Now, we don't beg Mr. Amazon to please send us the package we ordered. We decided what we want. We figure out where we're going to order it, and we pay the price and pick it up off our porch. See, online shopping is not supposed to be emotional, and neither is effective prayer. I'm going to say that again. Online shopping is not usually emotional, and neither should prayer have to be emotional. You go to the supplier, you know what you want, and you click order, and you get it. You see, Jesus did that. Stop, storm. What did it do? It stopped. You can see, man, to the blind guys. Oh, I can see. Thanks, man. You see, online shopping is not supposed to be emotional, and neither is effective prayer. I know it because I have the blue shoes right in my hands to prove that it works. It worked. You see? And God is the same way. You see, lastly, we took a quick peek at supply and demand. Supply is the amount of goods available. Demand is how badly you want them. We saw that a want is more powerful than a need because of the mindset. God has more to supply than we're willing to demand. God has more to supply than we are willing to demand. There's never just one pair of shoes. I mean, God has an eternity to get us what we need. He already knows what you need. Now we're going to look at a very surprising lesson on how to get prayers answered and actually receive what we desire. Now watch how one unnamed disciple coaxes an amazing lesson out of Jesus on exactly how to unlock the power of prayer. Folks, if we do this, if we do what I'm about to teach, our prayer life will change dramatically, and the answer to our prayers will be evident. Jesus had recently sent out the 70 disciples. He put them in situations that would force them to see what they were made of, that they were powerful beings with far more authority than the average disciple allows himself to manifest. And they came back elated, telling story after story of signs, miracles, and wonders. They even attracted the devil's attention. Jesus said he saw Satan fall as lightning. He was pissing off the devil, these guys were. You do too. You see, they were living a lifestyle that most people only read about. Could it get any better? Well, the answer is yes. So Luke chapter 11, and this is where we're going to learn this lesson. And I'm going to read verse 1 through 13. And it came to pass that as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said to him, Lord, teach us to pray as John also taught his disciples. And one of his disciples, maybe one of the 70 who had just returned from learning that he was able to do signs on top of miracles, on top of wonders, came up to Jesus and asked him a strange question. He said, Master, I would like you to teach us to pray like your cousin John the Baptist teaches his followers to pray. Okay. Now, why would this disciple drop John the Baptist's name here to Jesus, the man, the chosen one, the Messiah? Why would he drop Jesus' cousin's name? What had he seen different about the way John's disciples prayed? Remember, some of Jesus' disciples had been once disciples of John and then shifted. So what was his style? What was this prayer style that was so different, so amazing, that he knew Jesus knew and he wanted Jesus to teach everybody? You see, was it the amazing results? Why did he throw down this prayer challenge to Jesus? Sorry for interrupting your prayer time, Mr. Jesus, sir, but I was watching you pray over there and overheard you just a little bit, and I noticed you don't pray like we were taught to pray in our homes and in our synagogues. You talk to God differently. Your prayer attitude sounds like you're talking to a friend or to a close family member who loves you and totally gets you. It's not emotional. I've noticed that John the Baptist's disciples pray just like you do. They're blunt, direct, extremely persistent, just like they're talking to a friend. And the wild thing, you guys all seem to actually get results with this kind of prayer. What is up with that? Please teach us. What do you say, Jesus? Would you pretty please teach us to pray like you and John pray? And then he flashes Jesus a smile. And Jesus couldn't resist. He'd been waiting for someone to ask this question. And this was going to be fun, and it was going to be fruitful. Now remember, John had been teaching his band of faithful followers about 6 months longer than Jesus had time to teach his. And isn't it crazy that both Jesus and his cousin were both training disciples at the same time? It's interesting. Now, Jesus' disciples noticed something about the impressive way John's guys got results to their prayers. They were pushy, bold, and tireless in how they approached God. They talked to God like they knew Him well, like God was their favorite cousin or uncle, or better yet, He was like that cool dad who loved everything about his kids and would do anything to bless them if they asked Him the right way. Watch how Jesus is going to teach His disciples the way John the Baptist taught his disciples, that it's available to get what you pray for. How would you like to get what you pray for? How would you like to really get what you pray for? Are you tired of not getting your prayers answered? Are you tired of just talking or feeling like God can't hear you or like something else is going on? See, Jesus had recently, I already said that. He sent them out. And these guys came back. They were ready to do something. See, now, I want you to remember that prayer is not prayer is for you. It's not for God. Okay? It's designed to get your head, our emotions, our expectations straight. God already knows what we need before we ask. Doesn't John 6:8 say that? Sure it does. If God already knows what you need before you ask, then why do we need to ask? It's got to be something that us humans need. Questions are big deals. A lot of times a teacher will learn more about a student by the questions they ask than by the answers they give than the answers they give on tests. A question shows what you're thinking. Effective prayer is a mindset, a goal that must and will be reached. The unlocked prayer takes a clear and specific desire. The dogged, I don't care who hears me persistence of a friend. So now we're going to go, I'm going to read this again from Luke 11 from the Voice. And another time Jesus was praying, and when he finished, one of his disciples approached him. This disciple, Teacher, would you teach us your way of prayer? John taught his disciples his way of prayer, and we're hoping you'll do the same. Now, why would this disciple drop John the Baptist's name? You see, was it style? What was it? Why did he do this? And maybe it went something like this. Sorry for interrupting your prayer time, Mr. Jesus, sir. You see, I just need a little help here. Now I just said this, but I want to just go back through this for a second. Now, see, we talk to God differently. See, your prayer, our prayer attitude should be like we're talking to a friend or a close family member. You see, we should be fearless when we talk to God. See, John the Baptist's disciples pray just like you do. They're blunt, direct, all these things. So what's up with that? See, what do you say, Jesus? Would you pretty please teach us to pray like John? You see, and now he says, our Father, then Jesus says, okay, I'll show you. And here's how to pray. Now this is something we all are familiar with. Father in heaven, may your name be revered. May your kingdom come. May your will be accomplished on earth as it is in heaven. Give us the food we need for tomorrow, and forgive us our wrongs as we forgive those who wrong us. And lead us away from temptation, and save us from the evil one. Now we've all heard something like that, right? The Lord's Prayer, you see? And that's where most Christians stop, drop, and roll, you see? And that part was not new information to the disciples. Jesus was just getting warmed up. He was priming the pump. You see, the lesson that follows is worth its weight in gold. The lesson that follows is the point. Remember the verse I read earlier from Philippians 4:19? But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory. My God shall supply all your demand according to his riches and glory. I told you the word need can just as easily be translated demand. Wait till you see this. Let's see how Jesus and John the Baptist taught their disciples to talk to God. Verse 5. Imagine that one of your friends comes over at midnight. He bangs on the door and shouts, "Friend, will you lend me 3 loaves of bread? A friend of mine just showed up unexpectedly from a journey and I don't have anything to feed him." Would you shout out from your bed, "I'm already in bed, and so are my kids. I already locked the door. I can't be bothered"? Now, how many of you would like your neighbors ringing your doorbell at midnight? You ever had that happen? You see, how would you like them ringing your doorbell, waking you up and asking you for food for somebody else who just came to their house? Would you be a bit angry? We'd probably all be a little bit peeved, to say the least. Now remember, Jesus is teaching us how to pray if we want results. So this is a follow-up to that Lord's Prayer thing, that introduction. The friend on the inside. Go away, man. Don't you realize how late it is? Geez, you're going to wake up the entire neighborhood. I was sound asleep until you started beating down my door. Go away. I can't help you, brah. And stop blowing up my phone with text. I know you're out there. And with this brilliant common example, Jesus is showing the internal struggle most people have with prayer. It feels as if we are an inconvenience. It feels like nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to help. They're deaf. Now remember, this is how we humans are supposed to approach God. Not with heads down and eyes closed and hands folded. Not arms waving in the air or knees getting sore from the floor. You see, if you want to unlock your potential for prayer, then beat down the door and never take no for an answer. Now Jesus is teaching them how to pray. How many times do we excuse ourselves from responsibility of cracking the prayer code? We say or we think things like, the timing must be wrong. They just weren't believing. You see, maybe it's not God's will right now. You see, and if you were raised Roman Catholic, you might think, maybe I'm being punished. Step one, go to the one who can supply your need, your demand. Step two, and don't take no for an answer. You see, now verse 8. You know this as well as I do. Even if you didn't care that this fellow was your friend, if he keeps knocking long enough, you'll get up and give him whatever he needs simply because of his brash persistence. Now that's a good lesson, folks. How much do you need? You see, this guy asked for more than he really needed, more than his friend could really eat. You see, figure out what you need and ask for more. Figure out what you need and ask for more. God's unlimited. Amazon has more than one pair of shoes, right? You see, get your vision up. It's interesting to note that the inside friend would not get out of the sack to help his friend on the doorstep for friend's sake. He did it because of something called brash persistence, or as the King James calls it, importunity. You see, brash persistence, or to be impudent, means to be bold, sassy, impolite, and never take no for an answer. Never stopping, never shutting up until you get what you want. Now this is how we're supposed to pray. This is how Jesus prayed. This is what John the Baptist taught his followers to do when they prayed. And trust me, these guys and girls stood out. This type of prayer will get you kicked out of your church. It'll drive your family nuts. But this is how to pray. Friend outside. Bam, bam, bam. Hey, dude, get up. Give me 3 loaves. Friend inside. No way, man. No can do. Go away. Friend outside. No can do. Dude, get away. I'm not leaving until I no can do. I'm not going to leave. You see, I'm not going to leave. I'm not leaving until I get what I came all the way over here from next door to get. Friend inside, shut up. Friend outside, not going to shut up. You see, I ain't going to shut up until you get off your lazy rear and give me what I came for. Friend inside, geez, oh, Pete, all right already. Here's your stupid bread. Now stop knocking and start walking. Love you, bro, but you're a pain in the you-know-what. Outside friend, thanks, brah. Love you too, man. Next time, don't take so long to answer your door. That's how to pray. We go to God because He is not only our best buddy, He is our next-door neighbor. He's that next-door neighbor who has all the good stuff. He has all the equipment, all the tools, all the things you like to borrow because you're too cheap to buy them on your own. You see? And He always seems to be home. He always has what we need when we need it. You know, we may need to get a little pushy at times, but this is really just to animate our own believing. This is to animate our own prayer life. God needs no motivation. We do. Prayer is for us. God says, ask and ye shall receive, right? So verse 9, so listen, keep on asking and you will receive. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be opened for you. All who keep asking will receive. All who keep seeking will find. And doors will open to those who keep knocking. Brah. You see, ask means to ask persistently, to plead, to require what we desire. Seek means to seek, to plot, to plan, to endeavor, to desire. And this could be called planning or goal setting. And here it's prayer setting. And to knock means to beat down the door until our prayer is answered. Let's put that into shopping terms for a second. You know, it's sort of like you're online. And that's like asking, okay, I know what I want. And now I'm looking, right? I'm looking, click, website to website until I find what I want. Right? I'm seeking. You see, now I'm setting out a plan. Okay, now I don't just know what I want. Now I want blue shoes. This is exactly what I want. Then we seek it. You see, you ask, you know what you want. Then you start seeking online and you go for it. You endeavor, you set your plan out, right? You ever have a shopping plan? Like when you're looking for a car, I'm going to this lot, this lot, this lot, this lot. I'm going to check this website, this website, this website, with this website. And you check them all off. That's what this is. And then knocking means to beat down the door until our prayer is answered. Knocking is paying the price. This guy had to do something. He didn't just pray in his house when his friend came over. Please, Lord, give me 3 loaves of bread for my friend. Please, 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 Lord. Please magically have him appear on my doorstep. No! He went shopping online. He went next door, didn't he? Yeah. Why would it be any different for us? Jesus is telling him how to do it. You got to do something. That is how we get many of our prayers answered. First we take God with us. Then we know about the action-reaction thing, like Newton's third law there. And then we ask with persistence. And we continue to seek by planning and devising a way to get that door open. Because it's not God keeping the door shut, it's just our believing isn't ready yet. Just keep doing it, keep going, keep going for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it until you get it. You want to lose weight? Just keep trying to lose weight. You want to quit smoking? Keep quitting smoking until you've quit. You want to get in shape? Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You see? That's how God answers a lot of our prayers. See? And sometimes you need that miracle. That's okay too. That's not what this teaching's about though. It's about persistence, brash persistence. And keep knocking until the door opens and we get our prayers answered. That is the attitude it takes to unlock our prayer life. You want to unlock your prayer life? You have to have brash persistence. You want to build a business? It's brash persistence. You want to make more sales? It's brash persistence. You do not take no for an answer. I heard a salesperson say one time, I keep going back until they call security. How many times have I got a sale when I went back 5-6 times? And then finally they're like, oh, all right, I'll give you a try. You see? Which, I mean, it's the same way. God's not holding out on you. It's just it takes that to get our believing there sometimes. So 1, you figure out exactly what you want. That's our demand. Number 2, you decide where you're going to buy it, which is our supply. And number 3, ask yourself if you're really willing to pay the price. That's our cost. There's always something you have to do. So you want to get your prayers answered like you never have before? Then start shopping God's way. God bless you all.